Why have farmers been committing suicides? Are the new farmer bills good or bad? Why do you need to know about them? If you are someone who has an opinion about the farmer bills, good or bad, you should stick around. Because things are rarely black and white, and it always helps to know the context. Now before getting straight to the point, let's rehash a bit. It's 1947, India after independence. You are a farmer and it's cropping season, but you have little or no money left to purchase raw materials. You go to your local zamindar and borrow the amount you need. You don't know this, but he's going to charge a preposterous amount of interest. When the time comes, he knows that you won't be able to pay back. As compensation, he takes your entire produce that you've worked for throughout the year and pays you peanuts. Next year, you again don't have any money left to purchase raw materials. This was the vicious cycle that our farmers were stuck in for decades. Now, let's move on to 1963. The government finally realized that this was happening and they said, hold up, you are exploiting our farmers. Don't talk to them at all. Let me come in as the middleman and all transactions will happen through me. This was when the APMC Act came about. According to this act, state government had to set up mandis in each district. Farmers could sell only in the local mandi assigned to them. Only select traders licensed by the government could purchase that produce. Prices were regulated by researching on supply and demand and auctioning. There was a safety net given to farmers on some crops in the form of MSPs. Traders were not allowed to make a purchase below these MSPs. Well, on paper, it sounds good. It should work out well, right? Wrong. Now, let's move on to today. You're a farmer in modern India and the APMC system set to solve the problems of 1963 still exists. You go to your assigned mandi to sell your produce. You meet up with your commission agent who's going to interact with the traders on your behalf. All of these traders have basically been appointed as a result of having money, power or influence over some political party. They're basically really scary and powerful folks. These traders have formed a cartel. When price negotiation happens, they refuse to give you anything about the MSPs. That is, if you even know about MSPs. The price being offered to you barely covers your cost, but you literally have no other option. It's illegal for you to sell to anybody else at any other price. You sell your hard-earned produce at minimum cost. Meanwhile, the transaction agent comes in and ensures that you are charged a 3 to 8% mandi tax for facilitating this environment. Your produce then goes through a vast array of middlemen, from traders to suppliers to wholesalers to retailers to vendors and then finally to consumers. Finally, the apple that you sold at 6 rupees is purchased by me, the consumer, at 60 rupees. This is the system that we live in today. Before we even start talking about the farmer bills, we need to acknowledge that it's a deeply flawed system. Now, let's talk about the farmer bills. It's not possible to cover all nuances of the 3 bills in just one video. So let's talk about the first 2 bills and the 2 major changes they're bringing in. Number 1, if you're a farmer and you've not been getting a fair price at the mandis, you're now allowed to sell outside of the mandis. The APMC system will still exist, but it's not compulsory for you to sell only in mandis. This means that you don't have to rely on the monopoly of traders. If somebody outside is offering you a better deal, you can take it. Number 2, you can now get into contracts with buyers. So even before cropping season, you can say that you will supply say 100 kg of potatoes at a pre-decided rate of 50 rupees per kg. Now when your crop comes, if the market price of potatoes has fallen to 40 rupees per kg, you still get this pre-decided price of 50 rupees. Now let's say the price of potatoes has increased to 60 rupees per kg. Then you get this higher rate of 60 rupees. It's a win-win scenario for you. This also means that you don't have to make distress sales because your crop is perishing. You've already agreed to a rate that you think is fair before your produce has come in. Again, it does sound good on paper. Then why is there opposition? Why are farmers protesting? Right now, we stand at the cusp of a huge change that's going to impact a vast majority of India's population. And any huge change brings in a great deal of uncertainty. The system that the farmer has been living with for half a century is being completely toppled. Naturally, some fears and concerns are being raised that are valid. Like, will the APMC system be abolished in the long run? Will the traders in APMCs simply be replaced by large corporations? How can a farmer stand up against these large corporations? States like Punjab vastly depend on the mandi tax collected at the APMCs. Will the entire infrastructure of these states be toppled? Some of these concerns have to do with loopholes in the law that can get exploited, while others worry about the implementation of the law. To get an idea of how this may play out on ground, let's take a look at Maharashtra. Did you know that Maharashtra had already amended the APMC Act long before these bills came in? In the past couple of years, Maharashtra has come to be known as the most farmer-friendly state, and there is a reason for that. In 2016, the state released an ordinance allowing the sale and purchase of fruits and vegetables outside the APMC regulated markets. From this emerged a unique model of farmer-to-consumer markets. Farmers started forming cooperatives, selling and purchasing in groups, setting up farmer markets. If you're from Maharashtra, especially Pune, and you see farmers coming in your vicinity and selling their produce to you directly, this has been possible because of the amendments to the APMC Act. The fact is, we give our farmers far less credit than they deserve. Many farmer groups in Maharashtra, when allowed to sell to consumers directly, have done wonders. For far too long, we've been seeing images of helpless farmers. But farmers are not helpless because they are gullible or incapable. Farmers were helpless because they were legally tied to a system that no longer benefited them. At this juncture, we are at a pendulum that can go either ways. This may bring about a positive change, or it's also possible that some loopholes in the bills get exploited. You may or may not agree with these changes, but the fact is, you and I, the citizens, have the power to make a far deeper impact than any bill ever can. It is our responsibility to hold the government accountable for implementation. Now that the farmer can sell directly to us, it's our responsibility to make it easy for him to actually reach us. Let's open up our society's complexes for farmer markets. Let's start initiatives to train our farmers in marketing, sales, legal contracts, and essential skills of business. For long, we've had a culture of family doctors. Now, it's time to start a culture of family farmers. There's a lot that we as citizens can do for our farmers. But most importantly, let's not forget about this when #FarmerBills stops trending.